One Combi Challenge F2 Sidecar Championship runners then coming up onto the grid. We've got Holden and Winkle on pole position, Hanks and Wells second, Neary with his new partner, and that is a lad called Jason Slew in third place, fourth Bryan and Partridge, and then we've got Kimberly Bell, Bennett Perry, Baker Milligan and Eastell Smithies. Harrison wins, Smith, Wallace, Wareham, Atkinson, Napton, and they're all. So the Swan Combi F2 Sidecar Challenge hits the track, and they didn't manage to get a race in due to problems with an oil leak this morning and the track having to be cleaned up, but they're out here in perfect conditions at the end of the day for their 12-lap race. Yeah, right here and now with John Holden, by the way, the man who is leading this championship with 100 points to his name.
Yeah, and he's made the start. It looks like Simon Neary slotted into second, not Hanks off the front row of the grid. Only two on each row of the grid in this sidecar race.
So number one, John Holden and Andy Winkle. The 53-year-old from Preston and the 46-year-old Postman from Staffordshire are the men in the lead as they dive through the S's.
Yeah, John Holden and Andrew Winkle desperately unlucky, the TT. He led the race till about, what, 3 or 4 miles till the end. Finished second to Klaus Klaffenbach, and he was crying on the rostrum. It was really sad.
No disgrace, because Klaus is a former world champion who loved an Austrian who loved the TT.
No, I tell you what, he's made a mess of that, did Holden. He did, he took too much curve there.
So Holden and Winkle in the lead as they head up to cross the line, but they've got some real company here with number 2, Simon Neary and his new passenger. And that's Jason Slew, who is a member of the Derby Mafia, apparently, on the Isle of Man. And then we've got Roy Hanks and Dave Wells next up in third place.
Hang on, 2 abreast, that's not a good idea.
Number 22, Dave Kimberley and Robert Bell. They are lying in fourth place, or they were, and then the number 3 outfit of Gary Bryan and Gary Partridge, the two Garys.
Simon Neary and Andrew Jason Slew, fancying a bit of this. They're all on 600cc motors, various different Japanese four-cylinder motors, super sport spec. They're quite trick, 140 brake horsepower out of some of these things. But remember, carrying 2 blokes and a bigger frame and lots of extra clutter and more fuel than the Solo. So obviously not as quick. They're lapping in about 120. Still fairly impressive. And in some of the corners, they're quicker than the Solos. Oh, listen to that slide. When they tip into a corner like that, a lot of weight goes onto the sidecar wheel. That lifts the rear driving wheel off the floor. The passenger tries to get as much weight to get the drive on that sidecar wheel, on that driving wheel, but they still spin and slide as they go round.
So John Holden and Andy Winkle on the Holden Racing LCR Suzuki lead the way from Simon Neary and Jason Slew on the Team Dave Hudspeth Carpets, Nick Crow Racing, Honda UK, LCR Honda.
Yeah, LCR,
second place.
LCR, that's the chassis designer and builder. That's Louis Christian Racing. He's a Swiss guy, I think he's a world champion in the past, actually. But certainly, and look at that, Holden completely sideways there, and that's allowed Neary to catch up.
Now look at this, Honda versus Suzuki down the straight, pretty much neck and neck. The Honda can fractionally close the gap with help from the slipstream. And as they come down the straight, heading towards the S's on the 3rd lap of 12, fastest lap for the leaders on the LCR Suzuki, 1 minute 14.98.
And Holden's locking up. He's locked. They've got a bias, so they can actually decide with a valve how much braking pressure goes to each wheel. Most needs to go to the front, but some at different circuits need more braking effect on the sidecar wheel because there's more weight. And as you turn off the end of the straight, there's not so much weight on the sidecar wheel here at Snetterton, which means it locks up really easy, which you just have to hold them there.
So this is a great contest between Holden, who finally won the 2009 British Championship after finishing second 3 times, and the British F2 champion there, number 2 of 2007, second last year behind Holden, and that is Simon Neary.
Yep, we're looking downfield a little bit. Next one up is Roy Hanks and Dave Wells.
But here's the number 3 outfit of Gary Bryan and Gary Partridge. Just behind him, the number 9 outfit of Lee Eastell, Shelley Smithies.
Yep. And I've got to say, the Roy Hanks and Dave Wells combination, they're a 61-year-old and a 60... Oh, take that!
That was a neat move by Eastell and Smith.
What do you mean neat? It's completely sideways. Oh dear.
So Lee Eastell He's a relatively kid, 36-year-old.
And you know what?
And he's a very much a local man from Wymondon in Norfolk. That's about 8 miles up the road, James.
Yep. And do you know what I like about these sidecars? All these sidecar competitors, they're all hands-on, grubby fingernailed workers. They all do kind of manual jobs. They're all grafters. They do their own loading of vans, driving, mechanicking, wheel changing, the whole lot. They're all proper, old-fashioned racers. Good, I love it.
With proper old-fashioned jobs. Look at this. There's Hanks and Wells, but they've been passed by the number 22 outfit. Dave Kimberley, a landscaper from Leamington Spa, and Robert Bell there in the passenger seat, a window fitter from Doncaster.
Yeah,
meanwhile, at the front, Holden and Winkle lead the way.
And just look at these sidecar passengers. They do more work than you think. They're not just sat there. They've got to put weight over the rear driving wheel there as the throttle's open. Look, and to stop it sliding. He'll stay out there for the next...
where that right hand is. It looks scary.
Well, there has been a few sidecar passengers.
Who said daytime TV should be dull? Not Dave. We've got robots smashing
Get tucked in, wants to have as little frontal area down the straight as possible, look, and then he'll get out the other side for the left off the straight, and then he has to flick across to the right again for the S's. It's dead. There's a lot of effort involved in this being a sidecar. I tried it, I didn't like it.
You weren't in control, but there again, you weren't always in control when you were riding a two-wheeler, were you, really?
You have a point.
Number 22, Kimberley and Bell still there in third place. Fourth place for number 4, Roy Hanks and Dave Wells. And then look at this battle going on, because number 9, Eastell Smithies, being caught by the number 42 outfit. And that's Miles Bennett and Kevin Perry. Miles Bennett there, number 42. He's a financial advisor. What does he advise? What do people take any notice of a man who does this at the week?
I'm going to say, well, he's taken advice to paint his outfit up the same as a Frisian cow to me. Oh, that's a big one.
Oh, that's number 22, Kimberley and Bell.
You've got to get out the way.
Battling with Hanks and Wells for third place.
And he did well. Good presence of mind there to get the sidecar outfit off the track.
Oh, and the DK Racing pairing there of Kimberley and Bell have gone out, luckily unharmed, but there must have been a coming.
He dropped on. That's it.
Whoa,
I'll tell you what, he did really, really well there. They both were lucky to escape that. I mean, at the outset, it was his fault. He got it on the dirt coming out of Corrams. There's no grip on the dirt, Jack. He knows that now.
That makes you realise those lads were on the limit, weren't they?
Yep, that's it. They both escaped
so
that.
Bye-bye to Dave Kimberley, hopefully unharmed and able to go landscape gardening again tomorrow around Leamington Spa.
They were landscape gardening out of Corams there a little bit. Certainly a bit of ploughing went on.
And Robert Bell, hopefully he'll be fitting windows again in Doncaster tomorrow. This is great, isn't it? Holden Winkle lead, Neary and Slew in second place. Hanks and Wells now back in third.
Yeah, a little bit of a Yorkshire, Lancashire battle on here. Number 1.
Hey, I tell you, Holden Winkle will set fast as that right there, 114.49. They're just breaking clear.
They are, but they're kind of Lancashire based.
Oh, very much. John Holden from Preston.
Yep. Simon Neary, Leeds boy, albeit with a Manx passenger now.
And this, look at this battle going on. There's the financial advice being laid out in the front of the Frisian.
The financial advisor aboard the Frisian outfit.
Oh, and look, number 57's in there as well. Number 57, Dave Wallace and Steve Wareham. And number 57 is something that means a very special thing to me. The first sidecar I ever saw in action was an old guy called Freddie Wallace at Croft. What a racer he was, and this is his son.
Yeah, and Dave Wallace, really good solo rider, 350 TZ he raced on Formula bikes and other bikes, and I've actually raced against that guy in the early 80s. So Wallace has been riding Dave Wallace a long time.
Dave Wallace, 49 years old. He comes from Alfreton in Derbyshire, which is, of course, where his dad came from. But I bet his dad wasn't a pet carer who walked dogs, but that's what Dave does. Yeah,
well, you can see the paw prints over his sidecar outfit. He doesn't want to really let the dogs walk on his sidecar outfit there, I don't think. To keep him out of the garage.
So Eastell and Smithies hanging on in front of Brian Partridge, Bennett, Perry, Wallace with his partner Steve Wareham. Steve Wareham's obviously fit. He's a PE teacher in his real life in Leicester. I tell you what, these drivers and passengers are doing a lot more scrapping about with the outfit than I thought. You know, there's a lot of movement, a lot of bumps where they get in grip and then no grip. There's a lot. It looks really physical around here on these things. We're on the 8th lap out of 12, 2/3 distance here, and just coming up to complete. They cross the line. They're on their 8th lap, 2/3 of the way through. There's number 9, Eastell and Smithies. They are in 4th place, but they've got Brian, Bennett and Wallace right behind them with the number 10 outfit of Tony Baker and Fiona Baker Millington back in 8th place. Holden and Winkle, 7 laps complete, and they have a lead now of almost 1.5 seconds. The battle going on behind them, shimmering over the horizon here down the Revet Straight.
What's the passengers up the left? They've got to get on the left-hand side. Oh, that's got. He's going straight on for sure, is he not? No, he's got it. The Frisian handles well there into that left. Gotta say.
Oh, that was a great move then by number 42, Miles Bennett. And Kevin Perry in the passenger seat. They come from Sutton Coldfield, made their debut last year, finishing 23rd and 6th in the Formula 2 Cup.
Oh, something was happening there. Something was happening.
Something was really coming off.
And it has. Oh dear, it's all happening at the chicane.
And the lads try and sort their way out, and they've ended up in pretty much the same order, except no, I beg your pardon, Brian and Park. So Gary, the two Garys here. Whoopsie-daisy, I think there was a bit of a...
There was definite contact in quite a spectacular way.
that certainly rocked the passenger there in the number 42, Kevin Perry. Kevin Perry's a body shop owner. I'm intrigued to know whether that's in female underwear or I don't know.
No, I can tell you. These lads won't. It won't be female underwear. It'll be panel beating cars in general graft, because that's what these boys do, most of them.
That's right. Well, he'll need to do a bit of panel beating at the end of this race, won't he? Well, right. Number 9, Eastell and Smithy still holding on at the front. This is the Swan Combi Challenge F2 Sidecar Championship. And the man in the lead in the championship at the moment is John Holden with 100 points. Second place is Roy Hanks. He's lying 3rd at the moment in this race. That's 3rd in the championship is the second place man in the race, Simon Neary.
That's a leader. That's John Holden. He's now got a 1.5 second lead over that man. Oh, completely sideways Simon Neary there, going off onto the straight. Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
This isn't finished, is it?
No, it's not over, is it? You know that.
And number 9 still holding on there. That's Lee Eastell and Shelley Smithies on the leesm.co.uk Baker Yamaha. Very much the local people from Wymondham, which is really literally just a handful of miles up the A11 from here at Snetterton.
Number 4.
That's Hanks and Wells. Yep. They're a pretty solid 3rd. It's the tussle behind that's going off. The two Garys, Bryan and Partridge, here they come, number 3, trying to nudge their way through again on the Bryan Racing Baker Honda.
Yeah, watch the passengers. They've got to get from the left-hand side, on the left off the straight, and they've got to flick themselves across to get over the drive wheel to stop it spinning coming out of the S's.
Well, it's a tribute to these 600cc engines, the way they howl around with two men and a load of bodywork on board.
Yeah, they not just the same as a Super Sport tune on the engine, they go for a little bit more waving at each other.
Was that a hello, mate? How are you doing?
Yeah, possibly.
Actually, I think he was asking for a quick bit of financial advice. That's what was going on there. Cross line, Holden Winkle, 2 seconds clear.
He might get a bit.
Yeah. Might not be quite what he intended.
Yeah, like I say, they tune these bikes for a little bit more mid-range and torque than the Super Sport bikes do, with essentially the same engine, because obviously they need the torque to pull the extra weight.
Heading for another 25 points, Holden and Winkle. What happened was they DNF'd at Thruxton, and that was when Simon Neary won, but otherwise they've been winning all the rounds so far. But there's still battle going on behind them, and once again Bennett has burst through ahead of the two Garys.
Yep. All he's got to do is keep his outfit out of the tater field at the top. Looks fairly attractive for one shaped like coloured like a Frisian cow.
We're on the final lap. Holden and Winkle have crossed the line at the conclusion of lap 11. They're onto the final lap. Neary and Slew follow their way through, and then Hanks and Wells will be the next people over the line. And this battle is all for those 13 precious 4th place points.
And I don't think any of them have given up on it yet.
I don't think they have. Now then, is there any slipstreaming going on? Not on the behalf of the two Garys there. They move right out to the left on outfit number 3, and they've got the sheer straight line speed, I think.
Yeah, they haven't got the line. They've not got the line, Jack.
Can they get round the outside? No, they can't. These bikes run on, of course, they run on superb Yokohama soft compound tyres. The rear tyre can be soft or medium. The front wheel's always soft. We're on the final lap with Holden and Winkle in the lead.
There they are.
John Holden finally won that championship in 2009, and here he is, handsomely in the lead in the championship. He's going to take the race victory ahead of Simon Neary and Jason Slew, finishing in second place.
Here we go, though.
And then we got Hanks and Wells finishing third, but what's going on behind them? Oh, look, the Frisians back. Eastell and Smithies still in fourth place, number 9, but Bennett and Perry really threatening.
Anything could happen here at the chicane, at the Russell chicane. Is he going to have a go? He's too far back, surely.
We think.
Oh!
But he just tries to go sideways and across the curb.
He had to go.
Holding his nerve, Lee Eastell and Shelley Smithies head for the line, keeping their heads down, and they're going to get across in front. They're going to hang on to that fourth place. 5th, Bennett and Perry. 6th, Brian Partridge. 7th, Wallace and Wareham.
I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that.
So victory then for the 53-year-old John Holden and bike number 1. Alongside him, Andy Winkle.
You can't be a bit of three-wheel silliness occasionally, can you?
No, it's wonderful fun.
I enjoyed that.
And Simon Neary, the heavy goods vehicle driver from Leeds, the 30-year-old takes second place. Jason Slew joins him from Derby on the Isle of Man. Simon, of course, has some history in the Isle of Man, finished third in the 2009 TT and fourth this year. John Holden, of course, so nearly won that second sidecar TT race. Lost it by about 1 point something seconds.
Yeah, all on the last lap.
2 or 3 laps of racing.
He led it halfway around the last lap, lost it on the climb up the mountain, really. And I tell you what, there's nothing like a grown man crying to bring a lump to your throat. I've got to say, I felt really sorry for him.
Well, he's enjoying the spoils of victory here at Snetterton Heath this weekend. So Rob Holden, and they've waited a long time, of course, because they weren't able to race this morning. The sidecar's finally getting out on track in the best conditions of the day, really. It's a really beautiful evening, and the wind has, if anything, dropped a bit. It's just a really perfect Norfolk afternoon. John Holden will extend his lead in the championship with Andy Winkle over Roy Hanks. Simon Neary will cut down the gap to Roy Hanks in second place. So, race results. It looked like this. John Holden and Andy Winkle on the Holden Racing LCR Suzuki won it from Simon Neary and Jason Slew on their LCR Honda. Third place went to the number 4 outfit of Roy Hanks and Dave Wells. Hanks Racing Molyneux Rose Suzuki from Birmingham, of a famous sidecar racing family, of course. 4th for number 9, Eastell and Smith. 5th, number 42, Bennett and Perry, after a great contest. 6th, Brian and Partridge. 7th, Wallace and Wareham. 8th, Atkinson and Napton, after a great dice with Baker, Milligan and Harrison Wynne. 11th place went to Atkinson and Dawson. 12th for Dukes and Aylott, ahead of Rogers and Gasson. Pearce and Pearce. Kimberly Bell, who went out, of course, in that dramatic exit on their Ireson Honda halfway through the race. So the 2010 Swan Combi F2 Sidecar Championship Challenge looks like this. 125 points for Holden and Winkle. Hanks and Wells still hold second place, but their advantage reduced to 13 points by Simon Neary and Jason Slew. And the two Garys, Brian and Partridge, are in fourth place. And Kershaw and Wilson, desperately unfortunate after an oil leak this morning not to be able to start this afternoon. They still hold on to fifth place ahead of Bennett and Perry. Baker and Milligan are seventh ahead of Kimberly and Bell. Eastell and Smithies in ninth place. Henry and Smith 10th. Dixon Parker in 11th ahead of Elmer and Marshall. Harrison and Wynne 13th ahead of Wallace and Wareham. In fact, level with for 12th place. Atkinson and Napton on 20 points of 15th ahead of Atkinson. Dawson, Smith and Smith level 16th place on 16 points ahead of Baker and Killingsworth. Sanderson and Pierce. The howling 600cc F2 Swan Combi sidecars burst into life here in the late afternoon sunshine at Snetterton. John Holden and Andy Winkle making sure that they've got the early lead, which they were never really to relinquish. And although it was Simon Neary and Jason Slew really put a lot of pressure on early on, while behind there was a bit of paint being swapped, particularly featuring Eastell and Smith, number 9, and the two Garys, Bryan and Partridge, number 3. And then a huge moment for the third place, number 22 outfit, thankfully unharmed after that pirouette. Dave Kimberley and Rob Bell, experienced TT and British Championship competitors, although this is their first full season together, believe it or not. Finished 8th and 9th in the TT, not performing antics like that. While Holden, Winkle, Neary, Slew and Hank Swells had sorted out the front 3 places, this was the battle for 4th place. All the time, number 9, Lee Eastell and Shelley Smithies clung on. At the front, Holden and Winkle take victory here at Snetterton, extend their lead in the championship, and a good second for Simon Neary and Jason Slew.
And we are here in pit lane with John Holden and Andy Winkle, the race winners. Now, John, 125 points in the championship. You'll take that, won't you?
Yeah, we'll definitely take that. We came here hoping to keep 100% win, and we have done so. We're quite happy, aren't we?
Absolutely. I would imagine you're very happy indeed. Now, Andy, people at home might be thinking that Snetterton, with its 2 long straights, is a fairly easy track for a sidecar passenger. Is that the case?
Not really, because the sort of main turns in it, you're sort of over the bar for quite a while. So you're just virtually hanging on. You can feel yourself been trying to push out. And then, like I say, last but one lap, we were down in the ashes there. John run a curb and then up and then in the bonnet, nearly joined it. Thought, tarmac, no back in, keep going. Simon's coming in, but got it home, so good.
So, John, you were just keeping him awake?
Yeah, he needs keeping awake. It was a hard race. I mean, I got George puts plus double note out if I know somebody's there, and that didn't go away for about 8 laps, and then I got plus note and then plus 2 at finish, so we were made up.
Good result, great result for you guys. Another good performance. We'll let you go to the podium. John Holden, Andy Winkle, very well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
No, that's a scruff. I'd say he was above average.